Hey everyone, on today's episode, Chris and I are talking all about what it takes to be a winner and why most people play life strictly not to lose, and they end up losing. Check it out. Hey everyone, welcome back to Contractor Growth Network. I am Logan.
And I'm Chris Livingston.
And today we are talking all about, Chris, what we got?
So I'm going to talk about being a winner. All right. Being a winner and not just saying you're a winner, but actually being one.
Okay. Why?
Well, I'm going to talk about it, or why is that important? What do you mean?
Both.
All right. Well, the reason why I'm talking about it is because I'm a little frustrated. I'm a little frustrated that a lot of people out there are really quick to say that they're winners, but they're not quick at all to do the things that winners do.
Okay, so let's talk about the difference between that, because I see a lot of the same shit where I see people talk about how hard they work, how much they do, all this stuff. But when you actually, if you were to audit their actions, what would you find, Chris?
That they have a lot of losing habits.
Why is that? Why do we feel the need to tell other people that we're a winner, but in reality, we act differently?
Because it's the right answer, right? It's the right answer to say I'm a winner. But if everyone had the same tenacity as, the Kobe Bryants or the Ronnie Colemans or whoever your, Tom Brady's, whoever your hero is, then they would all be winners. But the thing is, they don't. Like, they legitimately, it sounds good. It maybe feels good. Like they ride off of motivation. Like, they legitimately need to be motivated in order for them to be able to do something.
So it's funny that you say it, because a lot of people, they're so used to being the loser. Most people realistically in life are used to being put down, beat down. I think there's some stat that you know it, but it's like on average, like the last time somebody heard a good job was what, in like high school?
Yeah. So 85% of the population, the last time they got celebrated or congratulated was after their either high school or college graduation.
Which is crazy.
Yeah.
So most people are so used to this, which is why people love to complain, right? People love talking about bad things. They love just being frustrated at life. But then if you're like, great, this is how you can fix it. I mean, I know my dad told this story where essentially, and sorry to cut you off, Chris, essentially what happened was I don't know, this is probably 15 years ago. He's a millionaire. He's good to go. And he had two of his college buddies over one night, and the two of them were complaining about how life beat them down and how they're not successful, not because of their own doing, but because of, they listed all these reasons. And my dad to them was like, to the first one was like, hey, look, man, I literally after college told you that I'm starting this company and I want you to come work with me. And you said no because you didn't feel like getting up early. And then the other one, he said, with you actually worked for me, right? You were like employee number 2, but and he had some reason, like you kept doing this and then you quit. So don't fucking tell me that you were not successful because of, all this shit around you. You were not successful because you did not put yourself in a position to be successful. You didn't actually want to be successful, or you wanted to be successful, but you didn't actually want to do any of the things that it took. So don't blame this on other people. This is you.
Yeah. And this is not like to beat anybody else down, but it's frustrating to me. Like the other day I wrote something in the Contractor fight, right? The Facebook group. And I wrote something in there and I said, why not just get off the sidelines and start actually putting in actions, join the CSA, do the right things, like, be part of the actual winning team. Right. And I got some pushback from certain people who gave what looked like maybe reasonings in their mind, but they're really just excuses. I don't have enough time. I can't do this. I don't have enough time. Well, it's like, then you don't have the energy or effort or mindset or real will to actually be, to win then, to succeed. If I don't have the time to do what it takes to succeed, then I don't want to succeed. It's very clearly that. It's not something we have to have some type of, crazy formula to put together. It's, if I want to succeed, then I need to do the things that it takes to succeed. It's really that simple.
You know how many people say they don't have enough time, yet the way that they say it, it took them 30 minutes to type out why they don't have enough time?
You know who doesn't have enough time? Like, everybody doesn't have enough time, right? If they are spending and wasting a lot of time. Like, life is not short. You just waste a lot of time. It's legitimately true. Like, life is not short. You just waste a lot of time. You know who didn't have enough time? Maybe Bill Gates didn't have enough time, but look what he built. Elon Musk didn't have enough time. Look what he built. Like, what are you saying? Like, who are you honestly think you are? Well, if you have a $300,000 company, $400,000 company, if that, and you tell me you don't have enough time, like, well, please help me understand how Ray Kroc or how all these other great entrepreneurs, how Henry Ford had enough time when they don't even have these things that they're able to leverage to save time.
Can I break down my mindset around this stuff?
Go ahead.
There's two different types of activities that we do, especially as a business owner. If you're listening to this, you're most likely a business owner. We're not lazy physically. When you say, oh, I don't have enough time, it's not that you are messing around all day. You're actually out working, and it makes total sense why you feel you do not have enough time. But you're not using your brain for what you need to use it for.
So you're mentally lazy.
You're mentally very lazy in the sense of you have no problem going out and swinging a hammer, hanging out in a skid steer, doing whatever it takes to get the job done for 12, 14 hours, but you refuse to actually stop and plan anything out because that's not your natural DNA is to do that. So the only way to make time is to actually make a plan for something, figure out what's next. Like if you say, I don't have time to make time. That's like we were talking to Griggs the other day, one of our clients, and we were talking about the website stuff. And he was like, honestly, guys, like if somebody doesn't have $10,800 to spend with this, they got much bigger problems.
Yeah.
So it's like, that's the same thing when I hear people that are like, oh, I can't afford this or I can't afford the time for this. It's not that you can't afford it. It's that you actually don't want to get over the hump. Because if you really wanted more time, you would find a way to make more time. If you really wanted more money, you would find a way to make more money. If you really wanted, like right now, Chris, if Megan called you and said, Chris, I know we still got 2 months, but the baby's coming right now. Would you say, Megan, I'm sorry, I don't have time to get to the hospital. I'm just, I got a podcast.
Yeah. Well, actually, I would think that. Do me a favor, put that phone in your lap because you actually may text me today. You mind putting that just.
So that's the thing is we all make time for the stuff that's important to us, but most people don't actually want the success. They love the victim mentality or the underdog mentality or whatever you want to call it. It's the come from behind mentality because then it's so much easier to say why you were not successful because you can blame it on other things. And even if you blame it on yourself, you normalize it to yourself and you normalize it to other people because typically what happens is if you hang around other people who also put themselves in this boat, you make everybody feel better together about why they continuously do it instead of if you hung around all winners. If all 5 of your closest friends are winners and you maintain this victim mentality, one of two things is going to happen. You're going to become a winner or you're going to find 5 new friends because you're going to find people who also have a victim mentality.
Being a winner is so important and it has to be ingrained in you. It has to be something that you truly believe in yourself and you live up to every single day. So that when you have those doubts in your mind, you look back into your inner self of that winner that you're like, no, that's not me.
That's why I had this gold chain. Have I ever told the story about the gold chain?
I don't know. I mean, I know it, but I'm not sure if the world knows it. So hello, world.
So, all right. So I had this gold chain around my neck. It's like, I don't know, probably how much weight do you think this is? Like 50 carats?
Probably not.
I have no idea. It's a thin gold chain, but it's gaudy. And the reason I got it for its gaudy is because last year when we hit $1 million, I bought this before we hit the $1 million mark, but I was like, okay, when we hit the $1 million, I'm going to put this on because this will be a constant reminder because as a gold chain, it's not, I don't go out and celebrate one night and then I forget about it. It's literally on me at all times. It is a constant reminder for me that Logan, you are good at this business thing. You did not get to this point by accident and by being a really shitty leader. So it's a constant reminder that, dude, you're just a fucking winner at heart. That's who you are. So that's why I have it because we all have chinks in our armor at certain points. But if your chink in your armor is months and months and months long, and then you have one good day, then you go back into months and months and months of negativity, you got to find a new environment to be around because Chris, let me ask you this. An A player in a C environment versus a C player in an A environment, who's going to win?
For the individual, I mean, obviously you want to have a C player in an A environment.
Why?
Because I'm surrounded by greatness. I got to live up to it every single day.
And a C player is typically not going to be somebody who goes above and beyond, and that's also typically somebody who they get their validation and they get their self-worth from other people's opinions. So if you have a C player and you put them into an arena full of A players, they do not want to let the A players down and look down upon. Like there was some stat that was like people would much rather make like 70 grand and live amongst people that make 50 grand versus make 200 grand and live amongst people that make 500 grand. Because the average person just wants to beat other people. They want to, and we had this discussion with our company this morning. Do you like winning more or do you hate not losing? And most of us, except for, I think there's a few of us that said, most of us said winning. Actually, it's probably 50-50. But essentially, Chris and I both said winning because to me, not losing means that you won by just doing enough.
Yeah, because the thing is, my competition is not someone to my left or my right. Like my competition is the greatest that I could ever be. Not just like, I'm not going to give you some cheesy, oh, well, I want to get to my full potential. Like, no, the greatest like there ever could be. That's what I'm chasing after.
And then here's the other side of it is let's say your whole goal is just to be the number one remodeling company in your area. Great. Let's just say the metric for that is total sales, which means that if you know your competitor is doing $3 million a year, to be the number one, what do you need to do?
3.1.
$3 million and $1, which means that you've now essentially capped yourself. And your whole motivation for how to crush it is in beating this other person. But as soon as you beat that other person,
what's next?
Yeah, your motivation's gone. You are no longer, because you're operating off of beating somebody else or beating off of fear or something like that. You have something pushing you, but as soon as you are pushed past beating somebody else, you're either going to stagnate there or you need to find something else that's going to actually physically pull you. And that could go, and that's where a lot of entrepreneurs start with, I want the things. I want the cars. I want the money. I want
to be $1 million company.
Yeah, I want to do all these things. But then once you get there, you're either going to stagnate because that's gone, or you're going to have to find a new motivation. I think when Bill Gates started this shit, I don't think Bill Gates from day one was like, yo, you know what we need to do? We need to go ahead and solve AIDS in the world. That wasn't his thing, but he started off wanting to build the computers and probably make money and do all this stuff. And then once he got bigger and bigger and bigger, he started to realize, wow, there's so much more I can do.
His vision was way bigger.
And this is why people tithe with their salary, because they recognize that when they give money away, they are helping people. That's what humans love, to help other people. So there's if you donate money, that is such a good pull. But if all you're doing is you're just chasing the dollars to keep it all yourself, I don't think Warren Buffett would, if he wasn't, because he's in the 1% club where it's he's going to keep 1% and donate the rest. I think if he never established that, he's got enough money for generations of Buffetts to come. He could literally buy every buffet out there. Yeah. Legit, with all of his money, he could buy every single one.
One night only.
One night, yeah, obviously just for a night, but every single one. But then it's not fun. But if he knows this is going to, when I die and I donate my, 99% of 50 billion, this is going to do all these things. That's what's going to drive him. So wanting to win versus wanting not to lose, I am a very pro winner, because then your real metric, your real scale is how good can you be versus how much can you just beat one other person.
I think that when you start to recognize that your winning comes from your growth, comes from your, increased vision, comes from getting closer to your goal, that is what totally changes the way you're able to make decisions. Because you're not afraid anymore. You're not afraid of, oh, if I jump from this rock to this rock, well, I may slip and fall, so I don't know if I want to jump. No. The goal is to move fucking forward. So if I jump from this rock to this rock, I know that I'm going to move forward, and I may slip and fall, but I also recognize that once I slip and fall, I believe in myself enough that I'm going to be able to get back up and then be able to have a new reality and then make a new decision. What stops people is they try to have everything fucking figured out. They legitimately think that they have to have, there is no blueprint for you to have everything figured out. What happens is you're smart enough, you're resilient enough, you believe in yourself enough that you make a decision, you make an educated decision, but you don't sit there and wait 3 years on building this brand. You make a decision, And then if something doesn't happen the way that you want it to happen, but it's not aligning towards your goal, then you pivot and you make another decision. Then you pivot, make another decision. Like legitimately, if you believe in your heart that today, that in 3 years from now, you're going to have X, Y, and Z company, and you believe that you know every single step without any hurdles that are going to come up to be able to get there, then you're foolish. You're so foolish to think that you fully have it understood, because if it was that clear, not only would you be doing it, but everybody on freaking earth would be doing it.
So there's a thought, or there's a phrase, and it goes, be patient in the macro and be urgent in the micro. And what this means is, if you want to become a millionaire, right, that is not an overnight thing. So be patient with getting to the millionaire thing, but be very urgent with actually taking the steps that it takes to get there. And this is a big part of why people do not take action, is because they do not think about their own future, because they have a heart, like humans, like we have a tough time thinking about will the decision today, will this podcast right now, will this help Logan and Chris and Mike in 10 years from now? Because it's hard for us to conceptualize how is this going to help. So we could just skip it today.
Yep.
Right? If you knew deep down that every piece of pizza, like if you ate a piece of pizza today and tomorrow you would be fat as shit, would you eat the pizza?
Obviously not.
No. But we're okay with eating the pizza today because it doesn't really affect us that much.
So there's a lag when it comes to growth. And there's also it slows down when it comes to the hurt that it is as well. Because legitimately, like, if I eat this pizza today, does it hurt me? I mean, yeah, it's not great for me. But so when I slow down, it's not felt right away. And it's like that, we don't get instant gratification, but we also don't get instant negativity. Feedback. So it just sucks, right? And we have this, the more and more I think about it, man, like, your mind is so important. Like, your mind is so important for you to get from point A to point B. It's not about all the other outside factors. It's how you digest what your reality looks like and what you decide is your reality. So people, myself, or anybody else who is not actively doing things to work on their mind, they're well behind. Like, they're legitimately years and light years behind where everybody else is. Because I know our system is light years beyond what everybody else is thinking. Like, we legitimately have no competition. We have competitors, but no competition at all. So if you're not investing into your mind, if you're not investing into your thinking, not investing into those things, it's I don't know. At this point, man, like, please hop off this podcast and figure something out.
Well, and I think a lot of it is okay. Let me just break down some math. Let's just go to money, because money is the easiest thing, right? That we could talk about. If you want to make at the end of the year, let's just say $100,000, right? We know that just for ease of numbers, taxes, if you're in the US, let's just say 50%. It's going to be less, but just for ease of use, 50%, which means that if you want to keep $100,000 at the end of the year that you want to be able to live off of, you need to make $200,000 yourself. Okay. So that's part of your salary. And then let's just say, again, ease of use, you're a solo operator, right? Your overhead between your truck, between your, let's just call gas, not, a fixed expense, not a variable expense. Your cell phone, your insurance, all this stuff. Let's say that costs $50,000, right? So you pay $50,000. Let's just, again, ease of use. There's more that goes into it. Now we're talking about $250,000 that we have to make, because we need $50,000 to pay for the overhead, and then we need $100,000 to pay taxes. So now we're at $250,000 that we have to make. Now, on top of that, that is like the bare minimum that we need to make at the
end of the year.
Like, that's fixed. We have to make $250,000. Now, once you add in jobs into that, again, ease of use. Let's say you're going through gross profit margin, right? On top of that, whatever you make in work, like, it has to outpace that, right? So it's all legit just a math equation, but most people do not sit down and do the math equation. So let's just say if you want your total revenue to be $1 million at the end of the year, then you need to figure out what is your average job cost. Let's just say it is $10,000, right? So at $10,000, we need, what is that, 100 or 1,000 jobs?
Yeah.
1,000 out of 1,000. I think we need 100 jobs at $10,000. Great. We need 100. Is that the right math?
No,
Mike?
so $10,000 jobs is going to be $100,000.
Okay,
so
so then 110,000 jobs is $1 million.
Yeah.
Okay, so if we need to do 100 jobs at $10,000, and we go, well, one crew can only produce one job a week. Well, then we either have to do one of two things: either hire a second crew, because let's just say we do 50 weeks out of the year, or
Charge more.
we charge twice as much so the one crew can do it. So now it just becomes great. Which one do we want to do? Do we want to charge twice as much, operate one crew, or do we want to charge what we currently charge, which is 10 grand per job, and do it, with two crews? So most people, the winners, will stop and think this stuff out, because then it just becomes a math equation. And when you slowly chunk it down and you go, well, all we need is literally one job per week at 20 grand. This is how we make it. Everybody makes this whole business thing out to be so fucking crazy. I have to do this, we have to do that, we have to have all these things and this and that. It's just math, man. Like, if you want to do $1 million in a year at 20 grand, you just need to be busy for 50 weeks.
I guess it's so much easier if you can be able to put it and chunk it like that. Because when I was looking at like my life over the last couple of weeks, right? So getting engaged, getting this house, having to fill out all the paperwork to get the house, making sure that, we had all the stuff that we're going to put in this house, closing on the house, talking about, going to the courthouse, figuring out, marriage situations, all these things. And I'm like, oh my God, there's so much shit I got to do. But I was able just to compartmentalize it and say, okay, there's two things I got to do. I got to, one, start my family with Megan, which means get married, and two, get this house. All right. So in order to get married, what I got to do? Engagement ring. All right. Boom. What next thing I got to do? All right. Well, we also got to make sure we get married. So that's courthouse stuff. But I chunked it into these two big categories, and it's just so much easier to manage. And then I was able to backtrack and be able to plan, okay, what step do I need to take today? Versus me looking at this big daunting task, what step do I need to take today? So if you're able to go back and think about how many jobs I need to do, what's my average job cost, what's my overall goal, how much money do I need to make this year? And I start with, first and foremost, how much money I need to make this year, and what is that anchored to? How much money I need to make this year, and what's that going to allow for my family? So when people talk to me, oh, I want to make around $50,000, $60,000 a year. Okay, well, what do you want to do with that $50,000, $60,000? Well, do you think you deserve to be able to go on vacations with your family? Yeah. So do you do that with it $50,000, $60,000 a year? No. So why is that your goal?
And it's funny because it would literally take, if you actually sat down with a paper and pen and a cup of coffee, no phone, no TV, none of this stuff, you actually thought through it, it takes 20 minutes. Literally, you can map out your entire, just what you want to do for the year in 20 minutes. And if you are somebody that either does one of two things, either one, literally doesn't know how to do this stuff, which is fine because not like most people here did not go to business school, or two, you can write this stuff down, but as soon as the first obstacle pops up, you're leaving. This is why you need the community. Because if you do not, if your whole problem is, I don't know how to hire. Great. What have you done to try to hire? Have you talked to somebody who knows how to hire well? Or have all you done is just posted one thing on Craigslist and Indeed and complained to the rest of the world how there's a labor shortage? Or you just complain about unemployment? Well, did you actually want to hire this person? Did you have conviction around hiring this person? Or were you morally more interested in, this is more of a nice to have, and it's so much more fun to complain about, what Biden is doing to this country and all this shit? Bro, you probably had like hiring issues when Trump was in office. Like it's literally not the president dependent. I mean, is unemployment helping? No. Is the, labor, is COVID still being around helping? No. But these are not like, companies are hiring right now.
Yeah.
And people are going to work. So if for some reason the big dogs have figured it out, but you haven't. So maybe we should think a little bit more about what are they doing. And if you don't know what they're doing, join a community that can help guide you and keep you accountable.
All right, quick plug. What community should I join?
Well, first off, we have a Facebook group, Common Sense Contracting. You need to be in there. I'm assuming most people are. But here's the other side of it. We only really do the actions when we pay for them.
Yep.
The amount of, think about the people that just say, oh, I just do free workouts in the park, right? If I belong to a gym and it's a more expensive gym, I'm going to take it seriously. I'm cool. Like when people are like, I could never spend $200 a month on CrossFit. I'm like, okay, that's also why you're overweight. Like that's legit it, because you do not see yourself valuing your health. But for somebody who does, because when you wake up early in the morning,
You don't want to go?
you don't want to go. Like you're like, fuck, I'll go. And if I have to wake up at 5:30 and know I'm going to go get wrecked in the gym, you think I'm going to go out at night? No, I'm going to save way more than $200 by not going out and going to those happy hours. And then when I wake up in the morning, I don't hit snooze. I go right to the gym. I've done all that stuff. Before the sun comes up, I've already won. I literally started my day off on a win versus the people that roll out of bed at 8:50 and go to work. I don't know how they do that. Like I legit do not understand it, because the morning is so fucking important. Because if you wake up with a shitty morning, that's like starting off your week in a bad note. Imagine starting off your day with a flat tire. That's how some people live their life.
Have you seen the movie He Got Game?
No, I have not.
All right. What's Denzel Washington? I'm surprised
okay.
I haven't seen it. But so it's like Jesus Shuttleworth, Ray Allen.
I know Ray Allen.
Okay, well, yeah. So he's in the park dribbling with his son. It's raining, and he tells his son. He said it's in the middle of the morning. He says, "Only people up right now are me, you, and Michael Jordan. Only people right now putting in the work are me, you, and Michael Jordan. So the people who are waking up early in the morning, knocking the stuff out, actually becoming winners before the day even starts. Like those are the people who are able to succeed."
Okay, let me ask you about this stuff. Let's just say morning versus evening, right? Because the morning is when the real money is made. Chris, do you watch Netflix at all?
Sometimes, but not as much.
Okay. Let's just say you do watch Netflix. Are you going to watch it in the morning or in the evening?
The evening.
Okay. Do you drink much?
Not that much.
Okay. If you are going to have a beer, you're going to have it in the morning or the evening?
The evening.
Right. So let's think about this. If all the good shit that we do in life is in the morning and all the bad shit is in the evening, why are you waking
up at 8:00?
Yeah, like that is your time to fucking go. And even if you're not a morning person, like your morning is different than my morning.
You don't have to be a morning person, but you still got to fucking get it done.
Yeah.
So who cares what kind of person you are? That's the stupidest thing in the world. I'm not a morning person. It's uncomfortable for me to be wake up in the morning. Well, you know what's also fucking uncomfortable? Being broke. It's a lot more uncomfortable. Like that's ridiculous. The excuses that are out there right now, I don't know. I'm so glad that in the group that we don't allow for people to have excuses and complaining, because that stuff is just, I don't know, it's not only is it bullshit, but it's also just cumbersome.
And the step before the morning is the evening. My evening sets up my morning. If I drink at night, which I don't really drink much, it's going to fuck up my morning. And to me, it's not worth it. It's like wearing a seatbelt. Is a seatbelt super comfortable? No. But if you get in a car wreck, are you going to be glad that you had your seatbelt on? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So it's like, it gets to the point now where the drinking, like all this stuff at night, it's just not worth it anymore, because I can't show up to work hungover. Like, how can I lead if I'm hungover? Yeah. How can I lead if I don't go to the gym and I sleep in and I wake up at 8:50? And one of our core values is energy is infectious, because we recognize how impactful having high energy is. And if I show up with low energy, that's like trying to hook up and not getting it up. Like, it's just not going to work. Like, you can struggle and you could try to fake it, but it's just not going to work. Like if you show up with low energy, you're in trouble, man. Like, it just happens that way. So the evening sets up the morning, and the morning is where you win, because you can carry that into the rest of your day. If the first thing you do is you wake up and you hit email and you have all these clients hitting you up about this and that, well, now you're going to have a bunch of little bosses telling you how to run your day. When in reality, I don't think anybody started their company to be told by a bunch of little bosses how to run their day.
Yeah.
Which is why this whole being around this community and being around, winners is so infectious. It's hard to be friends with 5 really fit people and you be overweight. You just can't, because you will start to migrate over to what they're doing. So why would you not want to associate yourself with winners? Companies that go with, yeah, I just did this on Fiverr. You paid somebody $5 to do this, yet you are complaining about how customers are cheap. Yet you, as a business owner, should know this better than anybody else. When you go to cheap vendors.
Okay, first of all, we need to harp on that. Someone recently told me, oh, well, I know what you guys do, but I'm just going to find someone cheaper. Like, what are you saying? First of all, there's no one who does what we do. I mean, 'cause that means you have a service level understanding of what we do. But second of all, like, what are you saying to yourself? Like, why are you able to say that out loud? Why are you willing to say that I'm going to go with someone cheaper? Because how'd
you respond to that? Because I would have been like, yo, like, straight up.
Yeah, what happens when your customer says
What
that
happens
to
when
you?
your customer? Oh, well, like, not everybody's our customer. I'm like, look, bro, straight up, like, you know why you're getting a lot of people saying that? Because you have that same belief yourself. If you are somebody that you're okay with spending the money because you want you're good with the big investment, then people will invest into you. But if you just want shit on the cheap, then people are going to expect that out of you. And whether you say it or not, trust me, like, this exudes out of you.
It's in you.
It literally is your
Yeah.
It is hard to outrun that. If that is your mentality, it's just not going to work. That's all these billionaires that are self-made. Their value is not on, I want to beat somebody else. Their value is on, I want to change the industry. I want to change this. I want to build this.
That's the fundamentals of a scarcity mindset. The fundamental is, I'm going to try to skip and dime and try to save some money here because I don't truly believe in myself that I'm going to make infinitely more. Like that's such a scarcity mindset. It frustrates me. People, I don't have a scarcity mindset. Well, yes, you do. If you're trying to,
and if people say I don't have a scarcity mindset, they have a scarcity mindset.
Yes.
Like, if you feel the need to like go out of your way to tell people that, if I was just like out of nowhere, I'd be like, yo, Chris, like, I hook up with chicks, right? And you'd be like, what? Like,
yeah, bro.
why would you say that?
Yeah.
Like there's literally no need. And people that like go that route, I'm like, all right, man, but like,
That's
we're
cool.
just trying to have breakfast. Like,
Yeah, bro, chill out.
why'd you bring that up? So it's just like, it's so out of place. But when people say that shit, then it's like, you're saying this out loud because you're trying to essentially talk yourself off the ledge and tell me that, I don't have a scarcity mindset. I'm just business focused. Okay. Well, let's talk about that. Because right now, if you are making these decisions based on, well, I could just get these, this is literally, you are falling into the same trap. And until you break out of it, abundance mindset people attract abundance mindset people. I saw somebody in the group the other day post, hey, should I sponsor an ad in Clippers magazine? You know what Clippers magazine is?
I'm assuming boats.
Close. You clip out the discounts. So who is shopping?
Yeah.
Who is shopping
ridiculous.
in discount coupon magazines? People who are driven by discounts.
Yeah.
And if there's a way to strategically do discounts. I'm not saying don't do them, but if you're like a freaking like remodeler, hey, get this kitchen for half off. That's literally all your profit.
Yeah.
Like it's not going to work.
Yeah.
Now, if you know how to upsell your way in and you can discount off like a very low level thing, hey, typically we do like designs for $500, but this time only we'll do it for $250. And someone's like, cool. And then, but damn well that you're able to take that $250 and turn it into $50,000. Okay, I'll sacrifice the $250. But you are literally going to attract the wrong type of people. And it all starts from the mentality of, are you a winner? Or are you somebody that's just playing life not to lose? That is the big difference.
All right, brother. Let's be winners and head out.
Be a winner. Send this podcast to one other person that needs to be a winner. That's the call to action. One other person who is stuck playing life not to lose, which we all know someone.
Stop what you're doing right now and actually do it.
Go send this to one person, because the more that you're around winners and how winners are speaking, the more that it just naturally, goes into you and you have to do it.
Why are you still on this podcast? Send it to somebody.
See you guys.